So for the introduction, this project is carried out as part of the BIC 20106 Project Management Principle course. Our group acts as the project management team for a proposed construction project. The main aim is to apply basic project management concept in planning and managing a construction project. The selected project is the construction of one unit temporary one-story business space located at Lot 6232 Mukim Icok Kuala Selangor, Selangor. The project involved building a temporary single-story business space and require proper planning of time, resource and site layout. The scope of this assignment focuses on project initiation and planning. The expected outcome is a clear project management plan that shows how the project can be organized, coordinated and executed efficiently. This section presents the project management plan, which includes the project charter, stakeholder identification, work breakdown structure or WBS, and site layout plan. These elements help ensure the project is well planned and ready for implementation.
Now, I am going to explain about what is the project charter. Project charter is a fundamental legal document stating that a project exists and formally initiating it. It is normally produced after a business case has been established and presented to the stakeholders. It acts as an official declaration that the project has been approved and can move forward with the planning and execution phase. In the project charter, it outlines the project goal, objective, and resources requirements before scoping out it. The key function of the project charter is the official designation of the project manager. It helps the project manager to have an understanding for explaining the project scope, project objective, and the stakeholders. It also helps both the project sponsor and the team to establish the expectation, obligation, and objective between both parties from the beginning of the project. So, what is included in the project charter? First, you must have the project name and the project scope. The project name is important as it helps clearly identify the project, while the project scope will define what work is included and excluded. You must also mention about who will be the project manager in this project. The most important thing is the project overview. You must have the project deliverables, project objective, business case, and etc. Next, move on to the stakeholders. All stakeholders' name and their job must be clearly written down. And also the key milestone, estimated budget, risks, assumption, and the constraint must be included in the project charter.
Next one is the organizational structure for our latest development. Adiham is Paragon Pinnacle Stadium Berhad, serving as both the project sponsor and client. They provide the strategic vision and funding, supported by Mujur Zaman Stadium Berhad as the landowner. The nerve center of this project is our architect, which is RDC Architect. They act as the primary link between the client's objective and technical execution. The architect coordinates a specialized consultant team consisting of civil and structure engineer and also mechanical and electrical engineers for infrastructure and services, and also quantity surveyor for budget and tender management. They also lead all statutory submission to local authorities like MPKS and Bomber. Moving to the site, the main contractor is responsible for physical construction, which they manage the daily work program overseen by a dedicated project manager. Their role is to synchronize site supervisors, subcontractor, and suppliers to ensure that the design intent is realized safely and on schedule. Finally, we maintain a vital feedback loop with future tenants and local community to ensure the project meets operational needs. The structure ensures clear accountability and seamless communication from the boardroom to the construction site.
In this slide, I'm going to talk about what is a work breakdown structure, WBS. A WBS is a hierarchical decomposition of a project's total scope into manageable components. It starts with the overall project objective at the top and progressively breaks down major deliverables into smaller, more detailed work packages. The work package represents the lowest level of the WBS. These are the smallest units of work that can be scheduled, cost estimated, monitored, and assigned to a specific individual or team. The main function of a WBS include clearly defining project scope, which helps prevent scope creep, improving planning and cost estimation, assigning clear responsibilities, and enabling effective tracking of progress, resources, and quality throughout the project.
There are two primary types of WBS, which are deliverable-based WBS and phase-based WBS. The deliverable-based WBS focus on tangible outputs, products, or result. It organizes the project around what must be delivered, showing the relationship between work and high-level deliverables. The phase-based WBS organizes the project by the different phases of its life cycle, for example, initiation, planning, execution, closure. This approach emphasizes how the project will progress. Next is the steps of building a deliverable-based WBS. The level 1 is a project level, the overall project objective, for example, construction of temporary one-story business space. Level 2 is a major deliverables. It breaks the project into significant chunks like site preparation, substructure, and architectural works. Level 3 is a sub-deliverables. Further categorize work under major deliverables, such as foundation works under substructure. Level 4 is a work packages, the lowest, most detailed level, clear, measurable, and assignable tasks like excavation for footing. The below is the example of WBS. The level 1 is a construction of temporary one-story business space. Level 2 is substructure. Level 3 is foundation works. The level 4 such as excavation for footing, lean concrete reinforcement to footing, formwork to footing, and concrete to footing.
To begin, let's look at the site layout plan. Think of this as the master map for our construction project. This plan is building for a temporary commercial shop in Kuala Selangor near a main road called Persiaran Mokhtar Dahari. This site layout plan is essential because it shows every team member exactly where to work and where to put their tools before the building even starts. The function of the SLP. The main reason we use this map is to keep the site organized and safe. It shows exactly where big machines like cranes, backhoes, and excavator should be parked and used. It also marks out important areas for the people working there, such as the office meeting room, a guardhouse for security, and a place for workers to eat lunch. By planning this out, we make sure the site stays tidy and everyone knows where to go. So for the key concern of the site, every construction site has limits or rules we must follow. First, we must stay strictly inside the red boundary line shown on the map to respect the neighbor lands. We also cannot build on the 100-foot work area to the next site, which is keep the clear future for forward work. Looking at the layout, you can see how the trucks and car enter the site safely by following the yellow arrows. Everyone must pass the guardhouse first for security. We put heavy cranes on special pads so they are stable when lifting heavy things. We also put the storage area and the plant yard near the edge of the site. This keeps the middle area clear so the builder have enough room to work on the actual shop building.
Before starting the construction phase, Microsoft Project has been used as a main tool for our project planning, scheduling, resources management, and progress tracking. As a group of 5, we have created our own Gantt chart, critical path, and resource sheet listing in Microsoft Project, so we will go to compare each individual task through these few categories. The first category is the duration. The project duration shows significant variation due to different planning assumptions, sequencing logic, and risk allowance. Farhan's 101-day schedule is the shortest and reflects an aggressive fast-track approach with extensive task overlapping and minimal contingency. While efficient, it poses high risk related to weather delays, approvals, labor availability, and potential quality issues. Xinhui, 282 days, and Sydney, 288 days, adopted highly conservative schedules with long activity durations and limited overlaps. Although risk-adverse, these durations are excessive for a temporary one-story business space and may lead to higher preliminary costs and delay return on investment. The Celine 146 days and Alicia 125 days fall within a moderate and realistic range, demonstrating balanced sequencing, reasonable overlaps, and adequate time for key construction stages. Overall, Celine's 146 days program is assessed as the most realistic and achievable, as it balances efficiency with risk management and aligns well with the temporary and small-scale nature of the project.
In this part, we are comparing the costs among the members. Looking at the overall costing trends, Celine, Alicia, and Farhan's estimate fall between RM1.6 and RM1.11 million. Their costs are lower mainly because the scope focuses on the building footprint only. In contrast, Xinhui and Sydney's estimates at around RM1.3 million are higher as they include additional scope such as external works, car parks, and drainage. For structural works, Celine, Farhan, and Sydney provided realistic steel superstructure costs. However, Alicia used an incorrect material allocation by assuming reinforced concrete instead of steel, while Xinhui underestimated the steel tonnage. Additionally, Xinhui and Sydney slightly overestimate substructure costs, making up about 40% of the total project cost. In terms of mechanical and electrical works, Celine and Farhan apply commercially realistic rates, whereas Xinhui and Sydney underprice M&E using residential style rates. Lastly, differences in preliminaries are mainly due to higher consultant fees, design approvals, and variation in site office and mobilization costs. In short, based on the overall evaluation, Sydney's costing is considered the most complete and realistic. Although it is not the cheapest option, it aligns best with the defined work scope and project tasks.
By comparing all the project plans in terms of sequence and dependencies, all members follow the standard construction flow, starting from initiation and approvals, followed by site preparation, substructure work, superstructure, architectural works, mechanical and electrical installation, external works, and finally testing and handover. In Celine's plan, the full use of finish to start and start to start relationship, allowing some threads like architectural work, M&E system works, and external works logically overlap. This results in a more comprehensive and professional structural schedule that is suitable for practical project control. On the other hand, Xinghui and Xingyi have a light schedule that is arranged in a neat, logical, and linear sequence. However, the lack of explanation about the interdependence work in parallel made them to take a longer time for construction. Farhan's project schedule is located in between descriptive and analytical plan. The unclear dependency relationship made some project tasks are divided into time windows. This separation of phase lead to very little track concurrency and inefficiency of the whole project. And for Alicia's plan, the clearly separation of the stages in planning framework made the schedule exceptional. However, her construction phase is quite compressed and simplified, showing less construction dependencies than Celine's plan. This scenario made it strong on the macro planning perspective, but weak on site execution level. Overall, Celine task sequence is the most effective as it shows the strongest integration of task dependency, realistic overlaps, and construction logic.
So, for resources allocation, I have reviewed 5 different ways our team member manage project resources. I look for 3 things, which is fair pricing, completeness, and practicality. First, Xinghui and Xingyi use a very simple daily rate system. It's easy to read, but it isn't very precise for a big project. On the other hand, Farhan was incredibly detailed. He even includes small things like masking tape and cleaning supplies, while his attention to detail is great. His system is a bit too complex to use for everyday financial planning. Alicia provided a very professional, high-quality structure. However, her costs like 400 ringgit an hour for a manager are much higher than what we usually see in the local market. It's a great premium model, but it might be too expensive for a standard budget. The most balanced approach came from Celine. She used realistic hourly rates that matched the Malaysian market and included important hidden costs like CIDB fees and tax. Her categories are clear, making it very easy to track the project's progress. In short, while everyone had good ideas, Celine's model is the most ready to use for a real construction project.
Okay, the last one is critical path. This table compares different critical path approach used by each group. The comparison is based on total duration, scheduling logic, and how realistic the sequence is for actual construction work. So for the first one is Celine. Celine's schedule is driven by external work such as drainage and landscaping with a total duration of 146 days. This happens because the external works are pushed to the end and become the bottleneck. However, external work should not fully control the project completion, so this logic is not very realistic. So the next one is for Lim Xinghui. Schedule has a long duration of 282 days. The critical path run through substructure and M&E works in a very linear sequence. This shows poor resource planning because many activities that could overlap are done one after another, making the project unnecessarily long. So for the next one is Farhan. So for the schedule has the shortest duration at 101 days. The critical path is driven by the steel structure, which is the main physical constraint of the building. Other works are carried out in the parallel, which make the schedule more efficient and realistic. So for the second last one, for the Alicia Sophia, schedule is controlled by design and approval works with a duration of 135 days because approval dominates in this critical path. So the construction period is highly compressed and there is a little flexibility if delay occurs. So the last one is So Xingyi. So the longest at 188 days. All activities are arranged strictly in sequence, meaning pre-construction works must be fully complete before site works begin. This approach is very conservative and does not reflect actual construction practice. In conclusion, Muhammad Farhan is the best because it has the shortest duration and use realistic logic. The schedule currently focuses on the building structure and allow overlapping works, making it the most efficient and practical approach, but it's not the best.
After we have compared 4 categories, we have decided the most realistic plan, which is Celine's plan. Celine's plan is the most balanced after comparing duration, cost, sequencing, resources, and critical path. It is feasibility. 146-day duration is achievable under normal site condition. The cost and resources align with Malaysian market standards. It also has constraint. External works, especially drainage, affect the critical path due to weather and inspection requirements. The constraint reflect real site conditions, not planning errors. And also practically, logical sequencing with appropriate thread overlaps reflects actual construction practice, suitable for execution by a standard contractor with minimal disruption.